Lord, this is the kind of bullshit I gotta deal with on a day-to-day basis. And I'm serious. Oh God, it's a fucking bull. Well, you're gonna be a dick, aren't you? Come on. Shoo. Shoo moo cow. Alright. I'll come back when the bull's gone. Bye, Mr. Bull. Maybe I can get this marine toilet to fit on the boat. Well, I found another gas can, but regrettably, this one has a hole in it. 3 for 1, so that's a pretty good record. I don't know what I'm gonna do with that. Probably throw it away, maybe, or probably not, regrettably. Nothing a little RTV can't fail and dump gas everywhere and set me on fire with. Alright, so we have good news. We got a dog run, and dogs. But besides that, we got title. We got title for the John boat and the Honda. So we're good to go, and I've got absolutely no concerns about the Evinrude and the CMF getting title. I think it's just gonna take 3 months for it to get through processing with DNR. But we got title, boys, in my name for the John boat and the Honda. So we're one step closer. Now I just need the Evinrude and the CMF because I can't put either in the water, and until, you know, I have title for both because I swap motors. But anyway, we'll see. I think I may just put the Evinrude on the CMF, take that out, see how it floats. And I mean, if I've got, you know, a whole shit ton of transom above the water, I can try the Honda, or, you know, lose some weight or something. But I don't know if I'm just not convinced that this Honda is going to work on this thing. You know, on this thing over here that I covered up with the transom, it said like the maximum capacity was like 500 pounds, not including the motor. So my fat ass is 200 pounds. That sucker's like 100 pounds, or it might have been 400 pounds. It didn't give me much room. I'll put it that way. And I don't think the volume is any different than the John boat. I mean, this boat weighs like another, like, I can barely lift like one end of this boat. I can pretty much pick up the John boat, put it on my head. So there's like probably 100-pound weight difference between the two boats. And yeah, I don't think this Honda is going to work for anything I own, which is going to suck because it's in really good shape. But whatever, we got a title. Lord. Damn near can't see the grass. I've ever seen it this full looking, and it's not even that high. Dock's still, you know, not underwater. Dolphins. Bastards of the sea. Alright, title update. So, just got word back from DNR. The fiberglass boat is in my cousin's husband's name, so that's not going to be a problem. But the Evinrude is not. It's in the name of somebody in McCormick County. They won't give you the details unless you start the formal, like, abandoned title application process, like what I had to do with the John boat. So I've confirmed the serial number is correct. So unless that thing had a frame swap or something like that, or my cousin's husband's father never actually titled the motor in his name, I don't know. But we're gonna get into that process. Hopefully we'll be able to get title for this guy. It took him a full month to get back to mail me back all my paperwork, so it'll probably be another month before I can get title for the fiberglass, and it may be another fucking 6-month process for the Evinrude. But I'm gonna go read that sticker off the side of the cowl and see whether or not it agrees with the actual serial number, and we'll see if it'll be easy or another pain in the ass. Title work, exciting. Okay, crisis averted. So it looks like my cousin's husband's grandfather made a transcription error, and he took the first letter of the serial number and he wrote it as a 0 instead of as an E. So when he got the title, it was for a completely different outboard motor, even though it was a transfer, because he had written the serial number wrong. So anyway, so DNR still had the previous owner's name in their records for that serial number, because this one has a different serial number, which they have in their records. Anyway, I know that's clear as mud, but basically, this motor is titled in some other dude's name, but this motor as a facsimile with a slightly different serial number, because the number was written wrong, is in my cousin's husband's father's name. So, or my cousin's husband's name. Anyway, I digress. So I'm just going to send that back in. I'm just going to turn the one misrecorded ditch it into the correct misrecorded one, send it back in, and they should send me everything back. And now they'll charge me a late fee because they fucking delayed it. Great. Whatever. Okay, let's ignore the title nonsense for a minute, and let's try and turn this whole pile of shit, except the beer, this is for me. Let's try and turn this whole pile of shit into a fuel cell for the Evinrude. So I've already got the quick connect hooked up, and this is the fuel line that I found on the side of the road with primer bulb. And I think it should be good enough right here that I can drop this. I think I can take this spigot and drill it all the way out, jam this fuel line right down in there. Ooh, that is nice and tight. Shove some gasket maker in there. The gas will probably dissolve it, but hopefully it won't. And jam that down in there. Gasket maker it in place. Put a little coupler down here on the bottom. Hook that up to another line, and maybe splice in a fuel filter somewhere in here, probably somewhere right here into this whole setup. And I got a whole pile of fuel filters. I got 10, 25 foot, however many fucking foot of 3/8 fuel line. A little bit more 5/8 fuel line down here. And a whole lot of no shits that I'm not giving. So I think hopefully I should just be able to thread this right through there, have it stick right out the bottom, couple the, oh yeah, that'll be perfect. Couple the other fuel line onto the bottom of this. I may even be able to stick it right onto, no, that's the breather. You don't need a vent. We'll run a self-tapper in the handle for a vent. And, yeah. And hopefully it should be pretty easy. We're not going to have anything fancy for the pickup, so we'll just have to keep a half gallon in there for it to suck up gas. And it should be the end of it. I don't know if I've cleaned that out or not. We'll just ignore it. That's what fuel filters are for. Alright, so here's what I came up with. Also, by the way, it's like 8:45 on the 4th, so I'm not in, Baghdad right now. It's just fireworks. Or mortar fire, one of the two. I don't know. People shoot each other in my neighborhood all the time. Anyway, I digress. So what I've done is I have taken this 15-30 seconds drill bit and just fucked the absolute shit out of the inside of this gas can nozzle up, and then just jammed this 5/16 hose right down in it, and it is a pretty fucking close fit with just enough for an air vent and for water to get in. Nice. We'll have to make a little duct tape skirt or something for this. I'll fuck with that in a minute. And just sort of jammed it up in there right on top. And as you'll notice, there's no fuel filter, but that's because I figured out something cool. And I did consider getting a Jerry Buddy, which is sort of a new invention that really should have been thought of fucking 50 years ago, where it's just a fuel filter with a pickup that mounts right to the top of the gas can. And you just pull that out and then move it to another gas can, and then you don't have to refill your boat gas tank or any of that are fucking bullshit. It's really fucking cool, and I wanted to buy one, but someone just patented and started selling this stuff 2 years ago or something. It's out of Holland or something, but anyway, they were out of stock. So what I did is I took this old glass fuel filter out of the Honda, which I had no use for because it leaks, and I stuck it in the fuel tank. And then I had this one little piece of 5/16 fuel line that I stuck on the end of it, and it just so happened to be almost quite the correct length. It's about an inch short, but we won't worry about it. If it becomes a problem, I'll just splice on another piece with a nylon coupler. I've got a 3/8 nylon coupler in there, but I don't want to waste it because I'm probably going to need it for something that's 3/8. But I just sort of clamped it down on there. It also doesn't help that that's a 1/4 inch fuel filter, and I put it on 5/16 hose. So I just torque the absolute hell out of it. And we're just going to mount it like this with the nozzle sticking straight up. And that should work just fine. And if I ever want to disassemble this, I just take one end of the fuel, pull this all back out, take one end of the fuel filter, or the top end of the fuel filter off, pull that hose right back up, slap it back on. I got a fucking jerry can, except the bleeder's all kind of fucked. So I think that should work as a boat gas tank. If I end up needing an air vent, I'm just going to run a self-tapper right here, and then when I want it to vent, you just back the tapper off a little bit, and it airs out. But I think this should be good enough. I'm going to grab some duct tape or something and just run a little skirt like this so that water doesn't go down into it. But I think that's pretty good as is. It took me no time at all. Okay, a little bit of aluminum tape. That should keep at least some of the water out. Enough that we won't worry about it. Okay, well, in the interim again, I finally managed to hook Theseus up to the boat to check my lights, and it looks like we have running lights on one side and flashers on the other, so that's exciting. Don't got a way to check the brake lights at the moment, but yeah, this one's twice as bright as that one. I've got running lights on right now, as well as the hazards, and yeah, so at least I know the wiring is at least partially good on both sides. At least one wire on each side works, as well as the ground. So yeah, I'll look into it. Could just be the bulbs, but well, we already looked at them and they look fine. So okay, so I wedged a cordless drill underneath the brake pedal, and it looks like we have brake lights on both sides, but we only have running lights on this side, and we only have flasher on this side. So we have brake light, flasher, and brake light, running light. So we got some mystery wiring gremlins to figure out, but it's serviceable so long as I only make left turns. All right, progress. We got title for the Evinrude now. Still don't have it for the CMF, but I have a feeling it's probably coming here shortly. Their boat titling seems to take a lot longer than their motor titling or something. It's not done in the same department. It's kind of weird. But I got my stuff for the Honda and the John boat at separate time. Well, that was also because of, you know, the whole fucking no title in North Carolina debacle. But I digress. We can put the John boat in the water now, but I think I'm gonna hold out and wait till we have the CMF, and I think I'm going to do that fiberglass one first, so I know if it sinks or not. Because if it sinks, I'm gonna throw that shit up on Craigslist, get rid of it. Use that money to go out and buy another rotten, like 14-foot John boat. Call that a day, or save the Honda and throw that on there, although I'll probably get 20 bucks for everything else. But anyway, I digress. Got title for Evinrude now. Alright, so I believe I actually have title to the CMF because they sent me registration stickers and all that. And the title for the Evinrude is the exact same title number as it previously was, and I mean, they sent it, my name's on it, as the exact same title number. So I think I have the CMF is in my name. I have no reason why they'd give me that, not that, but they just never sent me the title. So I'm just gonna wait, and if that doesn't show up, I'm gonna call them and ask. But regardless, today is sticker day, so I'm gonna put my registration stickers on both boats, and I'm going to replace all of the numbering on the John boat with the correct one for the new South Carolina registration, rather than the North Carolina. They gave me the same registration for the CMF, so I'm not going to replace those. I might come in with a Sharpie and paint over them or something, but I'm just going to put new stickers on it. And then we're going to put Cal stickers on the motors. Just going to take the Honda and just slap her right there. And since the Evinrude has the exact same information on the old sticker, I'm going to take the new one and stick it on the other side, right here. Just because there's, you know, valuable information. Fuck it, I'll just throw it right over the top of this one. I got photos. And yeah, we'll have stickers, and I think we'll be ready to put them in the water once I figure out what the status of the title is. Not really stopping me. I just want it because I'm procrastinating. You know, I don't know what they make these registration stickers out of, but when you can have a 35-year-old sticker still be tacky and come off in one piece after it's been sitting in salt air and outside in the humidity, you know, in the sun for 35 years, I think we should make all stickers out of this. Like the shit that they put on, like, anything that you buy, where you go to peel the sticker off and it just disintegrates. How about let's use this technology instead? I don't care how much it costs. This is beautiful. Alright, so both motors are done. The CMF is done. Have an interesting effect going on over here on the John boat. So the only places where you can still see the original paint are underneath the old stickers. So the only letter I could reuse on these was the C. But this was also the worst letter of the whole bunch, so it's a wash. It will have a cool effect. I'll just layer it in a way to be very confusing to get me a ticket later from DNR, because it looks like I'm trying to obfuscate my registration number, but I digress. I had to do this one anyway because this one's backwards and the sticker at the end, and I'm supposed to have it going this way with the sticker at the end. And yeah, also I'm supposed to have hyphens or spaces between these, and this is supposed to have a 0 in front of that 8, but we'll just ignore it. It's on there. I'm sure they'll give me a pass or they won't, and if so, I'll just pay a fine and then I'll fix it. But I'm lazy and I ain't doing it now. And yeah, I'm gonna work on this one real quick, and hopefully it won't look entirely like shit. It's gonna. Well, it ain't my finest work, but it fulfills a statutory and regulatory requirement, so we'll say it's good enough. That's a walking hot dog right there, if I've ever seen one. Mm-hmm. Yep, that's a big one right there. Get back here, hot dog. You ain't escaping. A big old angry hot dog right there. Goodbye, big hot dog. Go away. Ah, it's like a toad. Okay, so I bit the bullet and I just went and bought a deep cycle marine battery. For whatever reason, I just could not find anyone selling a deep cycle. Like it was like 60 bucks for like a 35 amp hour battery, like not even AGM, just an SLA. And then for whatever reason, I just changed like one word in the search, and these were at the local Walmart for 75 bucks. And I mean, it's a full on fucking car battery, so I can start, you know, these things with it if I got to. So I figured that was worth the damn effort, or worth the damn money. So we're gonna hook up trolling motor, just make sure it works, and we control at the very least, even if the big motor's or the little motor is still too much for this John boat. Well, it looks like she works. Nice. This thing has not liked being out in the elements. I've at least, you know, kept this mostly dry, but this guy's a little bit crusty. So we're gonna have to work on this a little bit more. I'm hoping this will fit in this battery box. I'm glad I bought an oversized one then. I don't know if this will, yeah, it's for a 24, so it should be a perfect fit. We can hook these bad boys up to it, run those through, and I'm probably gonna convert these to eyelets, just because these clamps are not marine rated. Okie dokie, I think it's been 2 years now since the last time I tried to put one of these boats in the water. I think it's finally time to actually attempt to use one of them. However, they've been sitting for more than a year now, so I'm going to need to go through the whole process of firing both of these up, trying to make sure that they still run, do a little bit more work on this guy. I read that I can shim one of these gears down in here to hopefully take some of that slop out of the throttle, so we'll try that. UV has gotten to this guy, so we're gonna have to make a more permanent boat tank solution there. I bought some new nozzles for my gas cans. I think I still got one left over that I can utilize for that purpose. And I want to add a little bit of flair to these boats, and I think I've got some names for these bad boys that I'm gonna try, that I've already cut the stencils out. I'm gonna slap on here real quick. All right, just got the cleaners out, cleaned up both sides of the boats. Looking at putting a name right here and a name right here. Probably shouldn't be touching the paint I just cleaned with my hands, but here's the big reveal. We have the No Such Thing and the As a Free boat. Now that looks like shit. Did not measure that before I printed these out on 11 by 17 paper at work and then cut them out with an X-Acto knife, but that one went on real nice. It's amazing how a flat stencil will sit flat on a flat boat side, but this has some contours. It's a little too big, so we'll just have to spray paint from a distance and consistent angle, which won't happen because I don't know anything about stencils or painting, but it'll match the rest of the boat. And that boat needs to be repainted, and I mean, I like the No Such Thing. It's got a bit of mystery to it. So I'm going to attempt to paint on the left side first, because that's the side you see when you're driving through town. So that's all that matters. And then the stencils will be in their best shape, but that's just straight copy paper. So I'm hoping I can paint, let everything dry. You just do a coat, walk over there, do a coat, take a sip of coffee, do a coat, take a sip of coffee. Get about 3 coats on there, hopefully not run out of paint. Let it sit for, 30 minutes. Move the stencils over to the other side, hopefully without ripping them in half, because those took like 3 hours to cut. And be good to go. Then I can cut grass and blow all sorts of sand right into that wet paint. Awesome. All right, just finished putting 6 coats on the second side for maximum thickness and minimum consistency. Because if I'm gonna fuck it up, I'm gonna fuck it up hard. So, this is how this side looks. A little bit blurry, especially on that H for some reason. But yeah, legible. Go on over here to the as a free boat. And yeah, a fair bit of overspray. Don't look at that. Not super legible. But that's just on account of it, you know, doing that. So we just won't pay attention to that. Hopefully this one came out. Just gonna let it sit for another 20 minutes, then peel the paint, peel the stencil off, and call it good. Could have clear coated if I felt like it, but I don't, so I didn't. Now, let me talk about why it's taken me so long to work on these boats. It's because I'm lazy and I procrastinated. That's literally it. But, however, I just finished a boater safety course because I realized I've got no idea what I'm doing, and I could very easily get sucked out into the Atlantic and die a horrible death. So I should probably, you know, make sure I'm following all the laws. So one, I don't get a ticket because those are expensive, and two, so that, you know, someone can find me when I get stranded and sucked out into the open ocean, because it's like 10 miles that way. So anywho, so I did that. From that I learned I gotta have like a whistle and some other shit, like a flag or some flares or some shit. And additionally, I should probably have an anchor, because this bad boy over here don't really do much. I mean, it's heavy, but it doesn't actually dig into the soil at all. And I mean, I could weld some rebar in there or something if I could weld, but I ain't gonna do that. Additionally, I learned, you know, I should probably focus on this guy and not this guy, because this is more buoyant and seaworthy and reliable. So I think I'm going to actually make improvements to this trailer. My plan was to, you know, sell one of these, but I think unless I can get that Evinrude, which we'll talk about in a second, to run reliably, I may just have to leave the John boat there with the trawling motor on it. Maybe buy one of them cheap Chinese 2-stroke trawling motors, or try and source another tiny trawling motor and just leave that as like a pond boat or a lake boat or something like that, and just stuff it in the woods and maybe get rid of that trailer, because that trailer is fucking heavy. And this one isn't, or at least this one balances better, but good lord, that one's a pain in the ass to move. I would like to keep it since I put all that effort into it, put a suspension on it, all that jazz, but this kind of sucks. So I think I'm going to try and improve this trailer a little bit, extend the bunk boards all the way out, because it's got those capabilities to have, you know, bunk boards out here and all this stuff, just so that I can use the John boat on it, just push them out to right there. Wouldn't take much. Replace these rollers on there, maybe replace the brackets for them, get an actual, you know, third wheel for it, fix the trailer harness finally. And I mean, that's all it would take to really make it, you know, accept the John boat. So I think I'm probably going to do that, just so I can swap between the two if need be. And yeah, I do need to actually put that guy on there at some point so that I can make sure that it works, or make sure that contraption works and doesn't just break immediately. And I also bought a new winch to throw on here, because I don't really like either of these. This one made horrid cracking noises the last time I used it, so probably should replace that. And yeah, just safety stuff, because I kind of don't want to die in a tiny little boat for no reason other than because I wanted to. So with this guy, I need to fix that because that's broken, and it's just full of water. And two, I really got to do something about this accelerator linkage throttle system, because it is not bueno. There is just that much slop in here, and I got to find a way to get rid of that. And I was thinking suspicion. I read some stuff that I could put shims underneath this guy, and I could probably stuff a bunch of JB Weld in there and then grease this guy and take all the slop out of this thing in here, but I don't know how much good that would actually do. The only other alternative I have is you can actually convert these guys to a cable system, so I might just pull everything out of this throttle and just like jury rig a like bike throttle on here or something. That way I can keep the tiller handle to be able to steer, and just have a cable running in here that just yanks on one side of this rather than the other. But I haven't really done much research into that, and I don't know whether or not it's really feasible or not, but it would be, you know, preferable to do that if I could. So that's kind of my thought. I need to get this guy to be absolutely reliable, and I just don't know if that's possible. It runs. It'll run at wide open throttle, but it just will not idle, and I think it's because of the throttle. I just can't control the throttle fine enough to be able to tune the thing to know whether or not it's working. And there's probably something wrong with the carburetor too. But, you know, so we're going to tackle that at some point in the future. But I think for now, I just want to get these names on here, kind of get the trailer sorted out just a skosh, fire up both these motors, make sure they both run, and then stick this guy in the water and just make sure it floats properly. Because if it doesn't, I think my big plan is to sell both boats and try and find a 14-foot John boat or Carolina skiff, because that would be my ideal boat. If I can keep it under 16 foot, I avoid a whole lot of regulations. I don't really need a 16-foot boat, but these 12-footers just don't seem to have the capacity. I definitely can't put 2 people in here unless I take absolutely everything out of the boat. And I would like to be able to take a second person. So I think ultimately my goal is to somehow barter up to a 14-foot boat or find one abandoned somewhere or something. That ain't gonna happen. Wait till the, you know, economy crashes and everyone dumps their boats, and maybe I can find a 14-foot fiberglass Carolina skiff somewhere, but we'll see. That is my ultimate goal for the free boat saga. But if I can make this 12-footer work, that'd be nice. But I just know it can't hold 2 people unless they're like 100 pounds. And I have nothing else in the boat, and I lose 50 pounds. So yeah. There she is. Both sides are painted. It was a little bit better than the other side. And that one's a little bit worse. And additionally, for a little bit of added touch, bam, painted the live well. And the bow up here. Nice. This boat, not worried about. It's going to get repainted. Well, conveniently, Amazon just came by, so we have a brand new anchor. It's only like 20 bucks, and a little emergency kit with some whistles, and I also have emergency cutoff switch lanyards, because it is now legal here in South Carolina. It's illegal here in South Carolina to run one of these puppies with an Ecos and not actually use it. So I bought some lanyards with that so I can use those, and I'll hook a whistle, one of those Ecos lanyards, and all that shit up to my life jacket. So I also have to run one of those. And yeah, so safety stuff, mostly check. Still need a like visible signaling device, but I don't know, I'll just light the boat on fire. That'll usually get somebody's attention. Alright, so I sacrificed one of my good anti-EPA, which actually spills less gas nozzles, so that I can repair this stupid pizza. And I probably just need to cover this whole doohickey right here with Gorilla Tape like I did right here. But this Gorilla Tape should hold up fairly well. That aluminum tape I put on there actually held up really well. But there was like a pint of water in this. So when that neck failed, it just filled up. Also, we got like 8 inches of rain in like a week. So that probably has something to do with it. And it has a vent cap here too. So perfect for spilling gas fumes out everywhere in the boat. And that guy should be good to go-ish. Alright, and we also took all the water out, well, most of the water out of there, and replaced that fuel filter and hooked that all up. And I should just need to hook up the other gas can fitting right up there, pour a little bit of 2-stroke gas in there, and we might be able to get this bad boy to cheech just for a second. So I just want to see if this thing will fire off. I'm not going to work on it today, but just want to know that it's still functional. Alright, I wasted like 8 ounces of my good chainsaw gas, and we've got the hose filling this up. So I guess let's prime this thing, see if we can get it to cough a little bit. And once we get some water in there, fire her up and see if it'll idle. Alright, well, couldn't be that easy. She runs off the bottle, but she won't run off of gas. And primer bulb is firm as it could ever be. Needle and seat stuck. So it can't get gas in the carburetor, so it can't run off of gas. Oofda. So, yeah, don't know what to do other than turn the thing upside down and drop it a couple times. To unseat that, I already tried beating on it with a dowel and a hammer. Didn't do nothing, so guess we'll have to pop the carb and rattle it around a bit, because I can't get it to jostle free. So, annoying. Anyway, we're going to have to go into the guts of this thing anyway to disassemble this whole throttle system. So, we'll just hit the carburetor while we're in there. Alright, it's been several weeks. I haven't had time to fool with this. We've had a lot of rain. I got a lot of compost. I got that thing driving. Now, I'm looking at this thing again. just pulled that guy off, put some fresh gas down there, and have supplied 125 psi to the needle and seat, and you can tell, ain't stuck no more. So don't know what its excuse was, but it was not letting gas in there. So yeah, interesting. So we're just gonna jam this. Wow, this hose is like petrified already. So we're just gonna jam that guy back in there, and see if we can get this son of a bitch to fire right up. I'm feeling we may not be making compression, but we'll see. I don't know. I'm just gonna spray a bunch of PB Blaster down the gullet, and then you know, pump on that thing until it don't move anymore, and then fill it up full of starting fluid and hope for the best. You ever have to put your dock back together with ratchet straps? Yeah, nah, me neither. Well, that should at least keep it upright, maybe. Oof, duh. All right, so here's the Honda motor. There's nothing wrong with it other than I would just like to test run it. And it's been in this bucket for like, might even have been a year. I have no idea at this point. I know the finale of this series has been long coming. I don't remember when the last time I filmed a clip was. I think it was 2022. I'll put it right here. But it's currently like late January 2024. And I just have so much shit going on that I don't know when the fuck I'm going to get around to putting one of these boats in the water. And I would like to fully fix that Evinrude motor at some point. But there's going to be some complicated... either some complicated plastic machine work and or maybe a 3D printer involved, or spending money. Probably less money than a 3D printer, but who fucking knows? We shall see. But anyway, my next step is to get this sucker running, and then the Evinrude, it's well, you saw the fucking needle and seat are stuck. I think, I don't even know when the last clip was, but needle and seat's stuck again, so I have to pull that carb off and clean it again. And who knows? Who knows? I don't even know how a needle and seat gets stuck on a fucking 2-stroke engine. But anyway, I digress. We'll do something with this thing eventually. But I have no earthly idea when that's going to be. All right. There's been another potentially interesting development in this Derelict freeboat saga. All right. So ignore the monkey suit. I'm on my way to a symposium. But so I was doing... some ecological assessment and mapping work for a property for work. And while I was in there, I noticed in the aerial imagery a abandoned, what looks to be 14-foot aluminum john boat that's been sitting out in the salt marsh since, after checking the historical imagery, probably 2016. I think it got swept there during Hurricane Matthew. And it's only a half mile from the road. And there's actually, like a service road that comes out right next to it on some public property. And I'm going to be out there with DNR folks this Wednesday to look at this other property I've got. So I'm liable to go out there, assess this boat, see if it's worth my effort. And even if it's not, I'm probably going to, go out there with a bucket, bail it, drag it back to shore, and, I don't know, work out something with some, old bike wheels or something. I don't have any of those lying around. And, rig it up that I can drag it the half mile back to the roadside, stick it in my truck, and then haul it another half mile down the road to a property I can stash it at, and go through, see if it's registered, see if I can find the old owner, and if, they'll sign over title. And if it's not registered, then I get a free 14-foot john boat. And as I've already mentioned many times before, this 12-footer is not big enough for my fat ass, and I've gained 30 pounds since I said that. I really need to lose that. But so we might just have a brand new john boat, in which case I can just stick the trawling motor on this guy and make this, just like a little pond boat, and then get the 14-footer and then maybe put the yonder Honda on it. And that might be the solution to my free boat. That might just be the kick in the ass I need to restart this series. This been what, like 2 years now? So anyway, let's jump to that and see what the hell this abandoned 8-year-old derelict marsh boat's all about. All right, free boat, here I come. All right, so we're out here now. trekking over to the boat, which should be somewhere just beyond that bend. It's a bit windy out here, but thankfully, the property manager knows me. I don't know him very well, but I'm actually meeting DNR out here to talk about something. So, perfect opportunity. So I can just drive up and park over here, and if someone catches me over here walking around with a bucket, which in waders, which is incredibly suspicious, you know, they already know me, I'm supposed to be here, and I can just tell them I'm getting rid of a derelict boat. They'll be like, oh, neat. Or they'll arrest me, one of the two. I don't know, but I know everyone, so I should be able to talk my way out of it at the very least. All right, so we're out here to this food plot, and this is, if I am able to get in here and drive, this is as far as I'm going to be able to get. And the boat is about 200 yards that way out in the marsh. So I think there's a cut through over there to an old causeway. So that's the route we're going to take. And should be an outgoing tide. So if I'm lucky, I can get out there without too much wetness, but it has rained a lot in the last week or two. So we'll see. All right, well, there's the old causeway. So thankfully it looks like we have a bit of a Harmar shelf here, so I should be able to walk around this corner, and it should just be right over here, just past that marsh oak, way over yonder. We'll see. Now, theoretically, there's this bluff right here, so if for whatever reason I couldn't get the boat up and out through this public property back here, which I should be able to do if I just tell DNR I'm getting rid of an abandoned boat, I can get a friend to come up here on a high tide. This is a very low creek, but just basically come up in here. You know, I get out here on kind of a flats tide, push this out into the river, and if it's seaworthy, haul it up to there's a fellow with a dock up here. I don't think I'd be able to get up on the dock, but at the very least, there's also a kayak landing down there on this said public property, so I could get it in there, and we can do about it. Well, there she is. She's not aluminum, she's fiberglass. So, that's interesting. Worth poking around, but, oh yeah, she's salt rotten. Oh, and she's cracked. So, probably not worth my effort to try and restore this. I think this is definitely a junker, but we can see whether or not we can at least flip it over, and, you know, potentially get it somewhere. But it looks like we're shit out of luck. This is, I believe this is beyond saving. All right, well, the inner transom is gone. The outer transom is nearly gone. It does actually have a registration number, so I was able to get a photo of that. So I can at least look up, see who owned it. There's a chance I might know him. But yeah, not my effort to pay any kind of money to get a title transferred on this, because if I know anything from the last boat, it took like, it ended up netting me like close to $200, and I ain't spending $200 on this piece of crap. So I guess all I want to see right now is, can I get this thing flipped over, and you know, whether or not I can push it slightly closer, you know, maybe up to the top of that hammock, so that if somebody comes by and wants to drag it off somewhere, because I'm probably just going to report this to DHEC as an abandoned vessel, and then they'll theoretically come by and grab it at some point. So we shall see. Or that, or I might tell DNR that I might be able to come down here and winch it out with the tractor, so we'll see. But it's not the most structurally sound thing, so well, I should be able to flip it or blow my back out, one of the two. So I managed to roll her about 150 degrees and shake out a lot of the dirt and dump out most of the water. But she was cracking and crunching. That whole side of the gunwale is basically coming off. So yeah, I'm just going to leave this one to DHEC and let them come and take it to the crusher. They just started a program where, you know, people can abandon or can turn over unwanted or abandoned boats for free, no questions asked, and they just recycle them back into fiberglass. So that's what's going to happen to this little sucker. So last registered in 2009, so that's 15 years ago. Yeah, it's worth. It would cost more to repair this in fiberglass than it would to just buy a boat. So we're not doing that. I do have my limits sometimes. It is beautiful out here. Thousands of acres of unspoiled marsh. So I guess this means if I can't use this sucker for anything, I gotta do something about the boats I already own, so great. Well, I was hoping this would be inspiration. Give me a new project to work on, something to get me back going on that project, but we'll put it on the back burner for another 4 or 5 years, so we'll see. Catch you then.